All right, guys. So I am actually concluding. I'm finishing here. So as I was saying that, pastors did not consider such people. You understand, guys? Guys, I remember those days, guys, in churches. Guys. I've spoken, I think in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, if not 2023, I can't remember. But I was speaking about woes to the churches, and I was pointing out the different kind of beliefs. It's because, guys, I went from church to church, church to church. You understand, and if you scrutinize their beliefs very well, because I did not remember, I did not realize or understand why Jesus was shouting at me whilst in church, guys, inside churches, and pastors are preaching are there, and guys, they are there calling themselves shepherds of sheep. You understand? They are there telling us that they are guiding us. Yet Jesus is busy shouting at me, don't do this, don't do this. And in my mind, I'm like, Jesus, this doesn't make sense. I'm inside a church. Wouldn't you be speaking to a pastor and the pastor will speak to me? And guys, I sit and I look at the fact that Jesus started dealing with me at the age of 14, you understand, and recruited me personal. As I said, guys, the way I got saved is not the same as other people. So for me, I never really relied on pastors and their messages, you understand. It's just that I did not understand what was written in the word, because just because I've got proof of the existence of Jesus and the authenticity of the word, it doesn't mean that I understand what is written there. With me, guys, I don't mind being led. I don't mind when a person comes to me and says, you know what, I'm going to lead you. Guys, I'm actually a follower. That's why I tell you, don't even follow me, because I'm a follower of myself, you understand. I'm laid back, I'm shy, I'm someone who sits at the back, you understand. And I'm not even good with confrontation, you know what I mean? That's just my nature, that's just who I am, So for Jesus to deal with me directly, guys, that to me was difficult, because I wanted to be led by someone, you know what I mean? So going to churches for me was like that. I wanted to be led, you understand? So for Jesus to recruit me directly and deal with me directly, it was hard for me, guys. It was hard because naturally I'm just laid back, you know what I mean? So in churches, they will preach their own things, but I did not understand that. Jesus kept telling me, don't do this. And guys, when you are a kid, a parent keeps shouting at you, telling you, don't do this. And you're like, others are doing it as well. And they're going to church, you know what I mean? So guys, it was hard for me. And if you look at Pentecostal churches, they are a kind of church that did allow salvation. In other words, they did get saved. The problem is that they started straying away from the word by riches messages, by prosperity messages, by things of the word as blessings. So they are the worldliest people, they are the worldliest church, because they want to be like the world. They are trying to impress the world, and they say once saved, saved forever, meaning once you get saved, it doesn't matter what you do, God will continue forgiving you. Yet Jesus keeps telling me, if you do that, you're not going to enter my kingdom. If you do this, you understand. So I had a huge problem, guys, a huge problem, you understand. Confusing time of my life, until Jesus said, get out. Get out. And I didn't know what I was going to do, because I have to do his work. You understand? That's why I quoted Matthew 25, where Jesus is speaking about doing his work, and he's coming back to ask us what we've done with his work. You understand? So I'm not necessarily, guys, I did not advertise this show, because I'm not preaching to everyone. I'm not dealing with, already, guys, there are churches with their own beliefs, but I'm speaking to people who had a similar problem like me, because, guys, I was alone among people, guys, in the midst of people. Guys, you don't know how much I love fellowshipping with people, so, but I was having this problem. People are doing their own things, running after riches, running after money, having sex outside marriage, doing their own will. And in my mind, it's like, what am I going to do? Jesus is warning me against this kind of lifestyle. Yet I'm in Pentecostal churches. And if I don't go to Pentecostal churches, because they did get saved, they do believe in salvation, but after that, they become worldly and lose Jesus after that. So I was like, what am I going to do? Jesus knew what I had to do. I didn't know. And he got me out of churches. You understand? Because I can't go to and listen to Mary and pray to this thing called Rosary and kiss statues. That is a cult. You understand? I can't go now and listen to a church that tells me that there is no hell. That is a cult. There is most definitely hell. I know hell. Hello? I've got proof of things, guys, right now I can't really speak about, and I can't go to a church that tells me that God's still writing more books. Jesus says, Genesis to Malachi, Matthew to Revelation, no more. John, no one should edit or omit. And they tell us about Price of Great Pearl, Book of Napoli. That is a cult now. A cult calling itself church. I can't go to a church that's telling me that I should worship ancestors with God. No! In the past, he spoke to the prophets. They were still physically alive. And in these days, God is only speaking through Jesus, meaning the New Testament. You understand? If you want to worship your ancestors, worship them alone. Guys, in my country, there's even a church that says that they are not going to worship Jesus because Jesus is a Caucasian man. If they had read the word, they would know that Jesus is not Caucasian. Guys, you go to Hebrews 10 verse 5. He says, a body is prepared for me. So I said, here I am to do your will, as it's written about me in the scroll. So I always speak about Jesus' description. I'm not speaking about what I know, because that's not important. But I'm speaking about what the word says. He says Jesus is head. He's white as snow. Meaning, guys, from the neck area, and I'm dealing with that dude. His hair is white as snow. His eyes are blazing with fire. Tell me, is there a race like that on earth? No. Just because people are puffed up, wanting us to believe in something, read the word, stick to the word. That's why, guys, I preach like this. I speak and tell you, don't even listen to me. At the end, I always say, and remember, his word, you understand, is the only information that will give us information about his kingdom. You understand? Why? Because he got me out of churches, because people have their own beliefs. So in my country, there is a group of people who worship a certain man from their race, because it's like, we're not going to worship Jesus. Jesus is a Caucasian. Jesus can't be a Caucasian man. Number one, he already existed in heaven, looking exactly as he describes in the word. He says, I'm white as snow. My hair is white as snow. My head is white as snow. Meaning that from the neck area up, I'm white as snow. I deal with that dude. I know how he looks like. And he says, my eyes are blazing with fire. You understand? So you understand that Jesus can't look like anyone, because he already existed in heaven, but a body. That's why he was put in the womb of a virgin, someone who had not had sex. Because if you had sex, you bring birth to something that is spiritually dead like us. Jesus is a God. Secondly, he already existed, so a body was prepared. So he had to be put in a body that looks like Mary's body. And Mary had to resemble Abraham. If Abraham was black, Jesus would have came from that race. If Abraham was Indian, Jesus would have came from that race. If Abraham was Japanese, Jesus would have came from that race. But Jesus was Caucasian. It's not even wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, because Caucasian people are like black people, are like Indian people, are like Chinese people. You understand? Because we all came from Adam. We don't even know the race of Adam, because Adam is a race that gave birth to all of us. You understand? So people are caught up in things that are not even necessary, because they don't want to read the word. Stick to the word. You understand? So it's things like that. So Jesus had to make sure that I stick, because, guys, Jesus, he recruited Paul, he recruited Peter, he recruited James, he recruited John, he recruited Matthew, Mark. Guys, he still does that. He recruited me personally. So I don't rely on pastors' messages, because I deal with a dude. You know what I mean? So he still does. So if you are like me, I'm preaching to you, because if you are like me, you're going to be so lonely. You won't even know where to go, because Jesus will command you to stick to his word, because his teachings are about his kingdom. When you live here, because his concern is that everyone who is taking church beliefs, they can't enter heaven, because churches have their own beliefs, so those people can't enter his kingdom. He still has his sheep here, and he wants those people to do what, guys? To stick to the word. That's why I tell you, stick to the word. Don't even listen to me. When I leave here, guys, I'm going to stand in front of him. You understand? And no one is going to die in my watch. That's why I tell you, don't even take my teachings, guys. Don't use my teachings as reference. Use Paul, use James, use John, use Peter. Better still, use my Lord in the Gospels. You understand? It's just that he says, eat my flesh and drink my blood. But Paul explains what he means by that, because Jesus doesn't explain. But Paul does, Peter does, James does, John does. So use them as reference. You understand? You can use my teachings and preachings also in the other show, the Kingdom of Heaven's teachings. You can use them as guidance, not as reference. The word is here. You understand? It's ended in the book of Revelations. No more books are added. If you deal with Jesus, you know that the word is the final. Nothing more, nothing less. Better still stick to the new covenant, because we have the blood of Jesus, not the blood of animals. We've been raised to life. We are spiritually alive. We have our Father's seed again. You understand? Not the seed of Satan like the Israelites. You understand? So it's things like that. So here, he's actually saying that when he comes back, he's going to command those people to bring back what he gave them. To 10, to the one he gave 10 talents, he expects 10 more, meaning I want you to give me exactly, because I entrusted you with this and I want you to give it back to me. So he says they will bring back what I gave them. You understand? The one whom he gave 10 and the one whom he gave 5, they gave him back, meaning they gave him exactly. Paul, Peter, James, they gave him exactly. You understand? So give him exactly. That's why I say don't use my reference. So I did not advertise this show because I'm dealing with a specific kind of people, not to everyone. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be known. But I have to make sure that I do his work, because when I live here, I have to enter his kingdom, and he will command me. You know, I mean, he will actually ask this of me. No one is going to die at my watch. That's why I say stick to his word. You understand? And the one who was given only one bag, in fact, if you go to the last verse, he says that one, I think it's verse 24, he says, then the man who had received one bag of gold, Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant, you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with a banker, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. You understand? So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever will give him more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You see, guys, Jesus is saying that those, in fact, he's speaking about people who open churches and preach their own beliefs. He says that I will throw them there because they did not have, meaning they did not even belong to me. They are like Judases. They are wolves. So they refused to do my work, and they did their own things in my name. So I'm going to throw them in hell. Guys, we need to understand these things. So if you are the one, you're saying, no, what, Nini, I understand you very well, girl. I understand you thoroughly. You understand? Stick to Jesus' word. You understand? If he deals with you, because if he deals with you, he will command you to listen to the word, not to church beliefs. Because people with church beliefs, when they live here, they can't enter heaven. And Jesus says that even his sheep, if you go to Matthew 24, he explains that the sheep will also be deceived. The elect will also be deceived as well. You understand? So he's saying that, but in fact, if you read that chapter, Matthew 24, he says that I will come and rescue them. You understand? Because the level, can understand, guys, there are churches wherever you turn, but people are preaching their own things. And you find that it's not, guys, if you read Amos, he speaks about the fact that there will come a time where young men and women will look for the word, they won't find it. And guys, it's like Amos was speaking about this time, because I go there, you go there, you go there, you can't find it. And Jesus says, here's the word, though. Read the word. My word my teachings are very much in the word. You take the word, you understand? It's so ironic, you understand? So stick to the word, you understand? He recruited people directly. He still does. I was recruited by him directly. So if he recruits you directly, you don't know, you guys, you won't know which church to go to. But guess what? There is the word. I'm here for you. I'm here with you. Don't use me as reference, but as guidance. You stick to the word. Stick to the word. Why? Because Jesus wants you to enter his kingdom. He says, I want you to enter my kingdom. If you take these teachings, you won't enter my kingdom. Guys, only his word, no church's beliefs.